And welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Forde. She's going to be my interviewer. And today we'll be discussing art, the power of art, positively and negatively. Shirley.
Thanks for welcoming me, Errol, to your show. Interesting that you're on that side of the seat, right? You're used to being on this side of the seat.
Yes.
So I should say I have the privilege and the honor to introduce you to, ironically, your own show.
I love that. That is beautiful. That's a good spin on it.
Right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But yes, so Errol, I don't think a lot of people know that, you're artistic outside of this.
Yes.
And art has such an impact on the 21st century, hence the reason why it is on the show.
Yes.
But Errol, so tell us and tell everyone else, how long have you been doing art?
Well, art was always a part of my life, even from my young school years. But as we grow and we take on other careers in our lives, that art took a back step. Fortunately for me, in the job that I do now, I did recognize the importance of art as a source of sensory stimulation for the minds, whether it's in a psychiatric hospital or a dementia care unit. It's practically the same thing. And by the way, art has a very positive impact on people's mind, as well as it do have a negative impact on people's mind. So you can speak about the positive impact, and you can also speak about the negative impact.
You know what? Let's start with the bad first. I love starting with the bad first and then opening up to everything positive after. What type of negative impact do you think that art can have on our society and community?
Well, first of all, art is a mental stimulant. And there are some pictures, whether it's in your psyche or actually looking at a piece of art, it can have triggers in your mind. It can have a positive trigger, or it can have a negative trigger. You may be in a situation where you had a bad experience, but in your presence, there was some form of art form, and looking at a similar piece of art to that form can automatically bring back bad memories. It can cause you to respond to it in a negative way. It may even cause you to hurt someone. It can cause you to flip out, go crazy. So art do have a negative impact, not only mentally, but symbolically also. There are people who has art that represent bad symbols. And what people don't understand is that the power of art magnetizes things to you. It draws things to you. That's why if you go into some fraternities, you see some different art signs, some different drawings that represent certain different cults or different experiences that invoke spiritual entities on the negative side or on the positive side. But either way, it has a mental impact on your being as a whole.
How ironic, because I feel like you were able to see that with, your journey as not only a pastor, but as well as you working in a psychiatric home where, people have that mental institutions have that mental challenge. So you've seen that there, correct?
Yes, I definitely see that, especially on a developmental unit where we have autistic kids. And I will speak a little bit about autism because autism is just not a mentally, I don't want to use the word disease. It's not only a mental issue, but it also has a very negative or positive response to art. There are art that you can have display in an autistic unit or a school where there's autism, and kids love it with autism. It calms their mind. It gives them a perception that you may not be able to see. And they may stare at that art for hours, but at the said very time, while they are staring at that art, it enables them to cool themselves down and take on a different form of imagining things. And they're probably seeing things from a level that you or I can't understand.
Yes.
Because one of the things about autism is that it's a self-withdrawn kind of symptom that, when you're autistic, you keep into yourself. You're not the kind of person who like expressing yourself to others. There's some social disconnection, which also is a derivative from your mental perception of life. And in the result of that, you don't do things socially like the normal kid would. You don't interact normally like the normal kid would. So that's why there's so much problem in schools where they're autistic kids, and often they get expelled from school and mom have to look for a specialized school to take that child into that they can get the kind of attention that they need one-on-one most of the cases.
Interesting. Do you think that art, since these kids with autism is they're unable to, I guess, communicate or express themselves, some of them, because I know this is a spectrum, but do you think art stands as a way that they can communicate?
Well, of course. As a matter of fact, most autistic kids, again, communicate through the form of art. And they're good at drawing what they are drawing. But here's a problem now. The other person that they may be expressing themselves through art, if they're not a social worker or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, sometimes it can be very hard for them to interpret what that child is trying to express or trying to show them out what they are going through or what they're feeling. So the art form is a way of expressing themselves. Autistic kids normally express themselves, and I think it is wise that even parents get some knowledge of art, what it really represents. It's not just a picture, but picture, and matter of fact, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yes, it is.
Right? So if you can have a clear understanding of the pictures your kid, your autistic child is drawing and giving to you, then you get a better means of understanding what your autistic child is trying to express.
Yes, yes, yes. Education is key.
Education, yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Let's turn this back to you. What I think is kind of interesting is, how do you express yourself through the art? What are you communicating? What words are you expressing through whether it's emotions, whether it's like psychological, like what are you saying? Like, do you want to go through and talk about the pictures you have?
Sure.
Just in general.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you. The funny thing is, this is not to pride myself above any other people. My mind is abnormal. Abnormal that I see things from the way how I think is multifaceted, you know.
Unique.
It's unique.
Not abnormal, unique.
Right. It's right. It's unique. My emotions can be established in a piece of art based at the time what is going through my mind. Like Saturn is just, this planet Saturn here is more than just Saturn, right? It also represents, this is that we are communicating right now. Saturday, that's the derivative from Saturn, right?
Interesting.
Birth Saturday, right?
Yes.
And even, I won't brand nobody religion for that word, so I will keep away from that. But Saturn is a planet that, if you are someone who believe in, and I don't astro travel, but there are those people who astro travel who think out the natural realm, out the natural earth realm, because most human beings are made for the earth, and we only think within the things within the earth. Limited things. But there are some of those special people, just like your uncle, who were right,
Uncle Bobby,
who talk about astronomy, right? And the Christian society is somewhat messed up, because when we talk about astronomy and certain things of the planet, we think that we are separating ourselves from God, that we shouldn't speak about those things, only witches and sorcerers and voodoo people. No. God have made you above all things, right? He have given you the knowledge and wisdom, and that's why he said to be spiritually minded is life, to be fleshly minded is death. So when you leave the earth realm and you start to see things from a different standpoint of life, you start to experience life. You can now unravel life. You can talk about things that is to come, that you will face, and that's where prophecies actually come from. Prophecies on the prophetic word of God doesn't start within the earth atmosphere. They are manifested within the earth atmosphere, because there are revelations given to you by God of what's going on in the cosmic world and the things that have been released from demonic entities. And people don't understand that in this supernatural world we live in, Satan and 1/3 of the angels was cast out of heaven, and they were made prince of the air. They have power of the air. Well, unfortunately, no. They have power in the earth, right?
Right.
So with that knowledge, the planet Saturn has a lot of meaning behind it. It's not just the day that people decide to name Saturday after, right? That's like Sunday, again, was named after the sun god Ra. And it was, people used to worship on Sunday. And up to now, and this is the thing about Christianity, and I'm a Christian, but I don't believe in the religious concept of Christianity. Because there are some people worshiping on Sunday, which most Christians does, but they don't understand why Sunday was put aside that day for worshiping. It's not that you can't worship any other day in the week, but that Sunday represents worshiping the sun god Ra, and that's why it was called Sunday, because it was worshiping the sun god. The English just shift around the word from the one obviously called S-O-N, which is sun for a person, but Sunday is the sun, right? Sun god, Ra, right? So I brought that because my mind don't fit in one specific realm. My mind all circulating in different divisions and different things. I see things differently. I try to figure out the biological aspect of man's anatomy. I understand the psychological way of people think. I understand the spiritual realm, right? And the things that happen within the spirit realm before the release in the physical, things I always preach about, by the way.
Right.
But art was the foundation of communication from all times. I mean, you go back to Egypt, there wasn't no writing back in the ancient time. If you go on any of Pharaoh's walls, you see bare drawings. You never see no encrypted word. It was simply drawings that express what people want to communicate. It was all drawings. So art has its structured foundation in history and man's history before wording actually came about. That happened probably in latter times, but before then it was all drawings. People draw.
Wow, yeah, this is very heavy, deep stuff. From a picture of Saturn, you were able to go through the mysteries of the universe, walk through the Christianity and the ways that the days and the weekends were named. It can be very deep. It can be very deep, and it's very much subjective, because someone else can look at that or any of your art or any art and say, you know what, this speaks to me very differently.
Of course.
So yes, it's like a universal language. Absolutely. That has, like, to your point, has been here since forever. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, awesome. But I do know also not only drawings, and I know you use different techniques as well. Do you want to speak upon that?
Sure. So everything about your life, the creativity of your life, we could call it techniques, or we can say we are ambitious in doing this or the other thing. I think all human lives is compounded with techniques. It's a way of survival, is a way of expressing yourself. Like, we can communicate through verbal communication, we can communicate through implied communication by the moving of hand or nodding of the head, all these kind of things we refer to as techniques. Only the reality that only two forms of communication really stand up in the world, in the legal world, and that's verbal communication or written communication. But it still represents a technique in how you present it to the courts or to the law. This piece of art here, like nature, yeah, it's like some forms of techniques, if you want to put it that way, because at the time it was drawn, that this represents a little bit of winter time. You can see a little bit of snow on the background and the little sun and so forth. It brings to this time of the year where your mind goes into a different realm, and winter has an impact on people's mind. I don't care where you are from.
It is true.
And the impact it brings is not just the Christmas atmosphere that everyone tries to be jolly. And news, not the key word in news. They try to be jolly. I think around the winter time and the Christmas time of the year, for many millions of people, is one of the most depressing times of the year, right?
Yes.
The environmental pull and atmosphere has a psychological pull on one's psyche, and their response becomes slower, they become agitated, and so forth.
Yes.
If you look at the summer, everyone is up and vibrant, and the reality is that the sun provides our body with a lot of energy. And it brings back to this what we were communicating earlier about the sun. God created the sun, and the sun is there to provide us with energy and ripen the fruits and do all these good things, right?
Vitamin D, yes.
And vitamin D, etc. But mankind, in his own concepts and precepts and ideologies, decide, you know what, this thing is good, man. Let's make this sun our God. We're going to worship the sun, right? And that obviously went against the teachings of God, that thou shalt have no other gods but me. You can't worship nature, because the witches does, right? The witches, if you were a witch and you were here saying this, I guarantee you will have a bigger spin on what I just told you on that, right? Because they understand nature, and they can active. I'll tell you this much. The word of God declares power and life. The power of life and death lies within your tongue. There are verbalized words that can come out of your mouth that can trigger the elements to respond. And I think I had this discussion before with someone about hurricanes, the hurricane season, because there's a time and season under the sun for everything. The hurricane season do exactly what the devil come to do. To steal, to kill,
And destroy.
to destroy, right? What does hurricanes does? It kills,
Definitely destroy.
it steals your life away, and it destroys. No, God is not a God of destruction. Because when he was on the ship, when there arose a tempest on the seas, he said, peace be still, right? All the other fishermen that was on the boat got scared, and they wanted to jump overboard and cry out to your God and so forth. So God is not a God of distraction. But remember who got the power of the air, right? The devil, Satan,
Yes.
and 130 angels. They are powerful beings. They are powerful entities, supernatural power. So therefore, when the witches chant out to their gods, and their imps and their legions of demons to do certain things, it happens, right? That's why there are fraternities established to do things that the normal person like you and I, we don't understand, because we got to be worrying about earning our daily bread to survive and live and feed our kids and do all this kind of stuff. But there's a next world out there beside what we're living in, and it's a serious world. We are living in a nice world. It may be dangerous, we may got a lot of shooting and killing and murder and so forth, but the reality is that if we ever had to get a glimpse into the supernatural world, it is way, way, way much dangerous to the one that we exist in. People get killed every day in the supernatural, you don't know. They sleep in, they leave their bodies, the spirit never get back into their body.
Dealing with the unseen to the natural eye. So that's very scary.
Exactly. It's serious.
Yeah.
You could lie in your bed, you could go sleep healthy right now. Perfectly healthy, right? I wake up tomorrow with a stroke, or I wake up tomorrow can't speak, wake up tomorrow with a bad virus, a cold. You say, wait, I didn't go anywhere yesterday. Why am I with a cold? Where did I get this cold from? Because your inner being, your spiritual body, your spirit leave your body, went out into the spiritual realm, it caught up a virus because it's spirit, right? It's wind, it caught up an airborne virus, brings right back into your body, and you caught the cold. So that's why people get colds, right?
That's heavy stuff.
It's airborne. Colds are airborne. That's why if I sneeze, I don't have to be exactly in front of your face, but you could get those bacteria getting in your nostrils. So if my spirit goes out there in the spirit realm, contracted the cold, the flu, the COVID, or whatever you want, it brings it right back into your body. And you can wake up with a cold. And you say, I think, Lord, where you get this cold from? I don't know.
Wow.
Right? But that's so the spiritual realm, art is tied into the spiritual realm, and not just in visual arts, but even the art where you get the performing arts. People moves according to the rhythm the spiritual rhythms that their body comes in. You see a guy playing a guitar, all of a sudden, he started giving spiritual, physical expressions with his face. He's feeling it. He's literally feeling it. Same thing with saxophonists and trumpets, whatever the case may be, because if you look at it, the devil was an artist.
That's what I was about to say. Lucifer was like the head of the something, choir or whatever. I don't know.
Well,
or head of the
what happened?
music.
Lucifer at that time, the Bright and Morning Star was his name. He was responsible. We call him the bandmaster, but really there wasn't no bandmaster. There was no trumpets and guitars and all that in heaven. No. There was something called pipes, and you probably would hear them when you go into Anglican church. You see these big pipes, and the guy played music, that kind of stuff, right? The pipes. He was like the pipe master. He would strike up that kind of sound in heaven, glorious sounding. And this is different again, the earth realm opposed to the heavenly realm. The music in heaven were sounds of the pipes. Beautiful sounds. And that's why today you go back to the Catholic Church, you go back to the Anglican Church, you go back to the Methodist Church or some Baptist church, you will find pipe organs because they're fashioned off the soundings that were expressed in heaven. So yes, Satan was the bad master, if you want to put it there, or the pipe master, however you want to put it there. He's good at music. And music can transform anybody's mind. I don't care who you are. Music can transform you from good to evil, or from evil to good.
Absolutely. Music has such a powerful influence on us, and that definitely goes under art, right?
Absolutely.
Like we just talked about how art in visually, it definitely we came around full circle, right?
Exactly.
Because we were talking about autism and how the same art could calm down a child.
Yes.
And a different art will activate evil memories or bad memories or nightmares or whatnot. So it just under that umbrella,
correct,
it seems to be like very influential, and like you said, it can go positive or negative. So it goes back to what you said earlier. We went full circle there.
Absolutely.
We went all around, but we came back.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of my early inspirations about art also, and I spoke earlier on my childhood days, even before I'd been into school, even though I was so poor then in my life, my mom couldn't even afford a book or crayons for me to sketch or draw anything, right? But mentally, I had a clear, vivid understanding of my childhood life. And my past interview that I did on art, I had a drawing of that piece there, where I grew up in Welshman Hall, St. Thomas, on the island of Barbados. And I used to live in Welshman Hall, and from diagonally across from my house were a tomb. And that tomb had an old slave master in it. His name was William, I can't remember his surname right now offhand. It was in 1630 something, I think.
Wow.
He was buried there.
Wow.
But there were a direct portal. I wouldn't know this till I get older and start to understand things about the spirit realm and the physical realm. There were a portal established between my house and the vault. You could walk like from here to like probably 50 feet, and there was a vault where my life was basically haunted for the first 11 years of my life. And
scary.
I draw that piece of artwork to reflect 59 years of my life since I was a child growing up, and how it had impacted my life. So I had a broad knowledge of the supernatural from birth. I was exposed to a demonic hemisphere in my life. I was like, I don't want to refer to the word magician. I was gifted by God, but I didn't know at that time anything about God. I was too young to understand that.
Scary.
It was scary, right?
Yeah,
but I could have looked at a person, really, and as there's a God standing above, I could have looked at a person, just look at a person, and tell exactly what they're thinking. I can tell exactly what their motives are. You know, it's like you could actually smell the fragrance of evil or the fragrance of good. And that gift remains with me up to this time in my life. And art, it remains a powerful instrument in my life, mentally and physically. So in the last, I wouldn't start doing art like since June of this year. And right now, I have more art. I can start a museum now with art. It's like, it went like crazy for the past 5 months. I have a whole ton of art at Cozy Boutique there in Brooklyn, Brookline, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Right.
If you have art, and where can we find it, of course?
Exactly.
Yes.
And no, I have a whole bedroom at my house full with art again, right?
Wow.
So I can actually start a museum of fine arts, but under these columns, you would have a description of the art and what it really means. And that is something I would like to do at some juncture.
Absolutely. It sounds like this is kind of the pathway. I mean, you know, it's hard when you're in it, especially at a young age, to know where your path is. You kind of have to just walk and just keep going, focus on every step until you look back and realize, wow, this is a journey. And the fact that, yes, you probably went through that scariness in the beginning, right? But it got you where you are today.
Exactly.
So that's actually pretty cool. And now you can express the journey you went through within your art, and people will resonate with that.
And one of the most beautiful things too is it's so amazing. I didn't even know it was so good. I drew quite a bit of Disney World characters, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and whatever they are, and it's like exactly identical. You know, it isn't something I had to try to do. It was like something literally guided my hand to draw.
It's a natural talent.
So those things. So there's something in my art for everyone: the mental institution, the psychiatric institution, nursing home.